at 4 o'clock. Okay, can we have the approval of the minutes from the September meeting? Do we have someone approve the minutes from the September meeting?
Well, Judy's raising her hand, but I think we're gonna have to accept the minutes because the only people who were at the last meeting were Robin, Grubard, Mary O'Leary, and then you, Connie. So
You know what? I can't hear you very clearly. Sorry. Well, all right, go ahead.
instead of approving the minutes. because we
Okay.
have a lot of people here from the last meeting. So Ted, you move to accept them. Judy, you second. And then all in favor?
Hi.
Okay. So. All right, so the first thing on the agenda today is the chain of command. So I'm going to screen share that with everyone first. So just to explain the order of things, this is an update from previous chain of commands, just because we've changed titles. So the hierarchy is going to be, and you'll see in the left-hand corner, director, then librarians, then managers, senior library assistants, library clerks, pages. So that is the template for the new chain of command. And then what that looks like with the job titles is the director at the top. The administrative assistant I put to the side because they don't supervise anyone and the director only supervises the administrative assistant. So that's why it's off to the side like that. The next tier down is librarians, and that is the librarian of reference and technology and the librarian of programming and outreach. So they're the second tier. What you're going to notice next is managers, and they're off to the side. That's the circulation manager and the youth programmer. Now, in the past, we talked about exempt and non-exempt positions. The director and the librarians are exempt positions, and that's the state classification. So circulation manager and youth programmer are, I'm sorry, I'm mixing them up. Librarians are non-exempt. And am I mixing them up?
Well,
We're exempt,
So,
are non-exempt. That means they have set hours each week. And their management tier is below the exempt employees. So that's why they're off to the side. And what we've set up is more of a mentor system. So the librarians mentor the managers. So even though I am their supervisor, they get guidance from their assigned mentor, which would be a librarian. That's why you see two arrows pointing down to the managers.
okay. I don't see children's librarian anywhere.
And it's the youth program. The youth programmer is responsible for children.
What is that there on the, I can't read it.
Oh, that's because the faces.
Oh,
Let me see. So it's right next to where it says my name.
oh, okay.
So then from there, circulation manager is in charge of library clerks. The librarians are each assigned their own set of senior library assistants. And then from there, they're then assigned library assistants. So because of the union contract, these are the job titles have been simplified. So no longer we have classifications then subclassifications. So right now, each department has their own set of senior library assistants and library assistants. So when we formalize this, we'll then put in each individual person's name. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I still don't see anything with children's librarian. You
Because
mentioned,
But where is that on the chart?
it's right next to where my box is.
where is
Put this online because it's.
So youth programmer is right here.
Oh, youth programmer, okay, and it goes right to you.
Yeah, so, and then library assistant is below that. This is not new. We introduced this a few years ago. We're just updating it now that we have a circulation manager instead of a circulation supervisor, and the librarian job titles have changed. This is the same hierarchy, but reflecting the new job titles.
Okay, again, I'm asking, should I be able to get this?
No, it's right on the screen for you.
Okay.
It was too, I couldn't fit it on a page to print for you. Is everyone okay with the job titles being changed? They've already, the job titles already exist. They're approved. I'm just putting them into the chain of command now.
okay.
All right?
Yeah.
All right, so can someone make a motion to bring this to the board?
I move to bring this issue to the board.
Bring updated chain of command.
Updated.
Okay.
All right, anyone second that?
I second.
Judy, okay, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the next is the Senior Library Assistant of Technology. Now, we updated this back in 2018. So one of the first things we had to do, and I'm going to walk you through this line by line.
Is this the first one on the sheet?
Does it say Senior Library Assistant at the top?
No, it just says library system technology.
So then it's the other position I gave you. The other sheet of paper.
Isn't this the same thing? No? Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Oh,
we have
school
taken nothing out of the position overview, except we've removed the term adult services librarian because we no longer have that title. The new title is now reference and technology librarian.
Mm-hmm.
We then added a line to this section. So I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Under the direction of the reference and technology librarian, the senior library assistant's primary responsibilities are to maintain local databases, maintain the library's automated systems, and assist the librarian with the local area network, as well as train staff. Now we're getting to the new component to the job description. Assist with the maintenance and upkeep of all library technology. This includes, but is not limited to, staffing and patron computers, mobile devices, and the local area and wireless networks. They will also train staff and the public on the use of software. So that's the end of the new section. Then it goes on back to the old text, which was offer technology programming. This position also provides services to the public at all service desks throughout the library and requires evening and weekend hours as part of the regular work schedule. All staff work in a collaborative environment with each other to complete daily tasks, conduct programs, and coordinate outreach. Anybody have questions on that?
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the protocol for these people, patrons, to meet with somebody with their computer or to work on their software? Do they have to make an
Well,
appointment?
that's separate from this. That wouldn't be addressed in this job description.
In general, it's scheduled a one-on-one.
I know, but you have to do it. I mean, that's a requirement if you want to talk. If I came in with a problem about my computer If you were available, you'd probably say, yeah, and work on it.
Sure, or
But
we
if you
schedule a
weren't,
time, or we
you'd
schedule
schedule
a
a
time.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't need to be reflected in this. So does anybody have any questions with the position overview?
No.
Okay, so when you get down to general responsibilities and duties of the senior library assistant, the only thing we changed here was swapping out adult services librarian for reference and technology librarian. So that is the only change.
Okay.
Now we go down to the next section, which is technology and programming responsibilities. We didn't take anything away from the job description. We only added, so I'm going to read the bullets that we added. So act as a point person for maintaining both the hardware and software for the libraries, and we added digital technologies. Then the next bullet is new, and that's oversee the project lab, which is a maker space, over the project lab equipment, programming, and training. The next new bullet is assist with the maintenance of the RFID system. And that's the new system we discussed at our last board meeting that we're going to be implementing. So we need to assign staff to be responsible for that. Then the last thing we added was we expanded on a bullet, which is develop and teach classes to the public on using computer software, digital devices, online resources, and other technology-related topics. And then we added, as well as manage and oversee the project lab. Any concerns with the new additions?
No, but where is the maker space in the library?
So that's in the Sealy House. It used to be offices. So just before you went into where the Barnum collections are, so when you go up those steps, it's on your left-hand side.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any concerns with what's been added? Okay, then there were two last additions. To required knowledge, skills, and abilities, we added two bullets. One is understand general library processes and services. Oh, I'm just missing an S. Let me add that in. And then the last bullet was knowledge of and understanding of programming and programming languages. So those were the two additions to this section.
Any programming languages or specific programming languages? Ones in use here in the library? It's a little bit
So
general.
I leave it vague because in my opinion, and it's a general statement, once you have a general understanding of programming language, applying that knowledge to, say you know HTML, then taking that and applying it to, say, Java or any of the Scratch programming and things like that that we're working with upstairs, I don't want to say it's, an easy shift, but the fact that your mind can at least process it shows that you're willing to learn these languages. And so, once you have the basic understanding to move forward with any other languages, I don't want to say relatively simple, but it's certainly a lot easier than someone who has no knowledge of any programming. And, for me, it shows that they put the effort in to learn something related to utilizing it. What we've got upstairs by no means requires a master's degree in computer science. But like I say, just to have a little bit of Java or HTML or something is very useful in them having a good understanding of how to work with what we deal with upstairs.
Thanks.
Then the last thing we added was in minimum qualifications, was experience with additional programming language and innovative technology is a plus. So the term innovative technology was added. Tom, do you want to explain why you added that?
Sure. So I wanted to find kind of a catch-all term for the newer stuff that's coming out from the, that will be in the project lab. So things like our programmable sewing machines, the VR equipment that we've got, the 3D printer. I mean, these are all new technology and, just kind of a lumped together term. something like innovative technology, I think, works really well. And it shows that, again, they've got the knowledge and understanding to be trusted with that equipment and will be able to move forward with it and have the skills to do so.
To know where things are heading.
Exactly. You know, they've got an interest in this stuff, you know?
So for this job description, it is in essence the same job description we approved back in 2018. All we have really done is added to it to reflect the most current technological changes we've made in the library and take into account some future ones. Any questions?
No further questions.
Looks good.
What was that? All right, anyone want to make a motion to bring this to the board?
I make a motion that we bring this new technology wording to the board meeting. Yes. This is part of our packet, I assume.
It will go out this evening once, or more like all right, all in favor?
Aye.
What do you mean go out?
We have to share it with the board, so I have to email it out to everybody.
Okay. Is there a schedule for some of these programs and things that the genius is going to tell us about?
So,
Can you sign
Well,
up?
let's, because we're recording, we have to stay on topic.
That's not on top.
So let's go to the next one, and then after we're done with the meeting, we can answer all your questions. Okay, so the last one is the library assistant. Now, the first one we brought to you, we wanted to hire for right away. The second position, we wouldn't start working on until after we hire the first position. When I originally put this on the agenda, we were only looking to add to the job description, not change it. And we've made quite a few changes since then. So if you want to look this over and hold off on making a motion, I'm okay with that because there are quite a few changes. So you might want me to send it to you and take time to look it over. But I'm going to introduce it to you now so you can look it over and then you can decide how you want to handle this one, because this one is more in depth than we originally thought it was going to be. So to give you background, this is a library assistant position. Now, was it 2 years ago, Tom, we restructured right before COVID?
Yeah, basically.
So right before COVID, the board had, and the personnel committee had started working on restructuring the library. And that's when we changed like Tom's job description from adult services librarian to reference and technology librarian. So we had been working on changing our structure to meet the new needs of the library. So the next step was going to be to start working on updating the positions below each title. So that's why you saw the additions to the senior library assistant position. But now we get down to a library assistant, and we have a library assistant of technical services position, which is vacant. Now, when we sat down and started looking at all the library assistant positions and kind of figuring out the future for each one, we noticed a lot of overlap between the library assistant of acquisitions, which is one of the positions we have in-house, and the library assistant of technical services. So it used to be this was one position. And then the previous director split it into two separate positions. So we've decided to change this technical services position because we don't really need two library assistants doing such similar work, but we do need more support when it comes to technology. So like Mary, you mentioned like all the one-on-ones and technology programs. Well, in order to continue to do that and offer more of that, we need more staff support. So because this position reports to the reference and technology librarian, we decided to update this position to better meet our current needs and assist that department in getting all of their responsibilities taken care of. So I'm gonna have, can you walk them through this one?
So the first change that you'll note in the top is just a title change. Rather than being technical services, it's now just library assistant technology. That carries over into the next one as well. And again, this is to meet the needs of where we're going, not to continue on where we were. So the position overview. So under the direction of the reference and technology librarian, the library assistant's primary responsibilities are to assist the senior library assistant of technology and programming in the maintenance of library equipment, technology programming, and the project lab makerspace, as well as assist with digitizing the library's rare historical collection. This position also provides services to the public at all service desks throughout the library and requires evening and weekend hours as part of the regular work schedule. All staff work in a collaborative environment with other staff to complete daily tasks, conduct programs, and coordinate outreach. So you can see we added some in the middle there. Really, the idea here is that this person will be working very closely with the position we just went over. And then directly under myself as well as the reference and technology librarian. We left in the need for a digitization person. That's an important thing. We have a fair amount of historical records here, both the Barnum collection, which everyone knows about, and then other stuff that we've just collected over the years. Since this person will be handling technology, digitization still falls within their realm. But we also will need somebody who can act as a secondary point person on things like specifically really the makerspace, and at times when I myself or the person filling the senior assistant role aren't available to diagnose computer issues, networking, what have you. It's just nice to have people who can help oversee all of these things or at least provide assistance with them and not constantly be moving up the chain of command to higher up people. So if we're all okay with any of the language there, I'd like to move on.
Any questions? I just do want to specify one thing. In the union contract, they're listed as library assistants. So you're not going to see library assistant - technology, library assistant - children's services. You're just going to see library assistant. So we don't have to worry about changing the subtitles because those are not tied to the union contract. I should have said that first, but all right. So let me move down to general responsibilities and duties.
You're not as much going to change general responsibilities, again, just the title changes. So receive oral and written communication from reference and technology librarian and or library director. Examine and become familiar with the contents and use of all new resources, any format that are added to the library collection. Work with all groups to support patrons in their search for information, leisure reading, and the use of computers and digital devices. Plan and lead programs for all ages. Assist patrons with access to the local history room collections. Retrieve and supervise the proper use of historical and fragile materials. Make recommendations for librarians for additions to the library collections. Assist with maintaining other aspects of the library collections as needed. Keep accurate records of statistics and queries, and perform additional duties as assigned.
Questions? So we'll go down. So now this is the section that has the most changes to the role of the library assistant.
We've made a number of changes to this one to make it more related to technology as opposed to cataloging technical services. So perform tasks related to library technology, equipment, training, and programming. Provide training to staff and patrons on the use of project lab equipment and materials. assist reference and technology librarian and senior library assistant of technology and programming with all assigned technology and projects, but not limited to digitization and RFID. Keep going. Now we wanted to leave in some of the cataloging because it is always nice to have a secondary person who can assist with this. So that's what this clause or a duty is here. Provide cataloging assistance as directed by the reference and technology librarian. The next one is work with vendors. Yeah,
That's sort of as needed.
Exactly, and as needed. So the idea being that the library assistant of acquisitions, who right now is handling the majority of our cataloging as well under my supervision. I create call numbers, things like that, approve the labels and all before they go out. This person will also be able to act in that capacity in the absence of the acquisition librarian, extended vacations, what have you. It's just, again, a backup. That way we've got a person who's been trained and can perform these duties. So work with vendors to procure and return materials, maintain statistics as directed by the reference and technology librarian and or the library director. And then this again is a duplication of the acquisition assistant, is assist with interlibrary loan duties as needed. Again, a backup, because you just always need to be prepared for these eventualities. Somebody retires, somebody leaves. It's always best to have extra people who understand how to do that. Do we have any questions about any of these changes or duties?
I would just like to say that this is an excellent thing that you did, because I think in interviewing, it will be very clear what you're looking for in terms of their abilities. Did anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and that's a wonderful point, and thank you for bringing that up. I mean, and we tried to make it so that it really got us the candidates that we were looking for, because libraries will be here for forever, but we are changing in what we're doing day to day with the public, and we're becoming far more technology driven than we have been in the past. And so, you know, we need to bring in the people who understand technology and can work with the public on the one-on-ones and things like that. So, thank you.
Right, so just the next two sections, we're just swapping out titles. And then Tom, you want to just talk about the last component and required knowledge?
Sure. So the required knowledge, skills, and abilities, most of these didn't change. Understand both traditional and marked cataloging formats. Again, this is part of them just being a backup for cataloging. Understand current trends and development in the field of digital services, technology, and online tools. Very useful for anyone that's going to be handling technology. Keep accurate records, understand and follow directions, just generally a good skill to have. Strong oral and written communication skills, again. Communicate courteously, enthusiastically, and effectively with the public and other staff members. You know, we want smiling faces at the desk. Solid general educational background and problem-solving abilities, ability to represent the library at outside meetings, and ability to work both collaboratively and independently. So now here's the new one that we added, and again, it's right over from the senior, is a knowledge of and understanding of programming and programming languages. So what, again, we're looking for there is just someone who has the aptitude and ability to work with the technology we've got upstairs in the project lab, and who has an interest in utilizing that technology and teaching people it. We've got some really great equipment up there, and we've got some wonderful plans. We just need now people who can help us execute those, because as much as I'd like to say I can handle all of it, I cannot. So, you know, by having in these required skills, we can assure that we're getting in people who we know will be able to work with the technology, work with the public, and marry the two, and really, help bring us forward with that. Any questions on the required skills, knowledge, and abilities?
There's certainly 3 levels here, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yes.
Of the certain, I just,
And I mean, that's really what we're going for, is that we've got people who we know, maybe they're only
Yeah.
part-time, but they're here and they'll be able to assist people. Then they can look to the senior assistant, and that senior assistant can then look to me for guidance, and then I can look to Megan for that guidance. And that's what's clearly laid out in the chain of command. And so by building in these backup people and people who,
Go back to the chain of command quick. So that really is what you're seeing. I'm gonna zoom this in.
I mean, if you just zoom in on, say, my section there or something.
Yeah.
So when you look at this section of the chain of command, you're really seeing that layout. You're seeing Tom's position at the top, the senior library assistant
Yeah, that's
really
fine.
picks up all the things that Tom
mhm.
does not have the time to do, but he can oversee. And then the library assistant supports all of those responsibilities. So it really is, it reflects that chain of command. So I know for this position, there were a lot more changes than I had anticipated. So I leave it to your decision as to whether you want to approve this or make a motion to send this to the board now, or if you want to take more time to look this one over.
As far as people that are out there looking for jobs like this, is there quantity of them, or is it few and far between, or I
Of
just,
possible candidates or
Yeah,
similar
candidates,
jobs?
candidates.
I mean, even my son right now is learning computer
Isn't
programming
that great?
in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, the
yeah.
skills that kids are getting now today in school, and certainly you need to have an aptitude for it to want to then teach it to somebody
Yeah.
else. But these
Mm-hmm.
people, these are not unicorns that we're looking for,
no, so you're pretty certain there's people looking for
Well,
jobs.
and there's only one way to find out. is
Yeah, I
Get
know.
it out there and
I
see what
just,
happens.
that just overwhelms me because I'm so weak at this.
So, do you want to make a motion to bring this to the board now, or do you want to wait and look it over some more?
Well, I have one question. Let's say you get someone that you're interviewing and they have some of the skills, but not everything. Is it possible, if you feel they're qualified, that someone could kind of teach them some of these skills? I don't know.
Here you will learn the following skills. And that's what the probationary period is for.
Okay,
Policy is that they master certain tasks within a certain period of time. But this is kind of like the perfect candidate. This is what we'd love to see. But the truth is, every candidate we interview has advanced skills in some area and lesser skills in other areas. And we figure out which ones that we can teach and which ones we can't, and we really have to find in the job, in the person.
well, if that's the case, then I would vote to approve it. I just think that to find someone with all of these skills might be difficult.
I think that's the case with all of our job titles. This is not a unicorn, and we're in a work.
I think by having words like understand, so understand traditional mark cataloging format, DOE classification. Honestly, if I sat with you for 5 minutes, you could understand it.
Yeah.
Could you create one? I'd be hard pressed to create one now myself personally without a little bit of effort. But that being said, I think the thing that we're looking for is an aptitude or desire to want to learn about these subjects. And obviously previous experience and interest is definitely a necessity, but the actual full
100% knowledge of all of these things, I think you'd be hard pressed to find that individual.
And this job description is really written to assist the senior library assistant. So the truth is they're there as a support. So if the senior library assistant has a task they're working on, they need help, they could be able to explain to the other employee what they're looking for. So this is not at the same tier as the senior library assistant where we need them to have the bulk of this knowledge. This is where we need them to know that they can learn that knowledge.
Which is an advantage for them because they will be learning. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that is why.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear you, Megan.
The difficulty is that the people who came in were in a position like you're describing, Connie, where maybe they didn't have everything. Unfortunately, we gave them that knowledge. They used it, they took it, they ran with it. They did great things here. And they have moved on to other libraries where they can now take that knowledge and do more with it. So, you know, I wish them all the very best, but maybe next time I won't teach them as much. Honestly, no. They're wonderful people, and I'm entirely thrilled that they're.
And the truth is that a good library has staff who've been here for a while and staff rotating through. You always want new blood and you always want people who know the history of the library. So with a position like this, you want a good rotation of people coming through over time, because the other side of it is technology changes, our
Yeah.
knowledge changes. So if we become a teaching ground for other libraries in this position, that is okay for us.
Okay.
So if you are comfortable making a motion to bring it to the board, I'm certainly welcome it.
I'm comfortable making a motion to bring it to the board.
So,
And I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any questions or anything? I mean, we've pretty much brought you the entire tier system at once. You got to see it from the top down, which is kind of nice, is that usually we're bringing you jobs one at a time. So it's kind of nice.
Step by step.
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
Well, we will thank the people who have moved on for doing it at the same time. So that way we could do them together. And it was very worthwhile for Tom and I to have the ability to do them at the same time, because it allowed us to see the bigger picture all at once.
Well, I would like to thank you and Tom for this wonderful, very detailed approach to the different assistants and the top guy.
And yeah, the general approach.
It's really good. I mean,
When I was.
Very well done.
Well, as I know, I called you all here at the last minute, so I'm sure you all have other things you would like to be doing. If you want to call the meeting to an end, somebody wants to make a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn the Personnel Committee meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Everybody?
Aye. Aye.
Hold on, let's end this meeting.